with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you again. Thank you so much, Reverend Smith. Let's give a quick round of applause to Anne-Marie Hoffman, who was playing music for us as you guys came in. That was amazing. Thank you, Anne-Marie. And I would like to introduce our MC for tonight. You know him as the morning radio host on the Blaze Radio Network. He's been hold on, Andrew Pappas is flapping. He's what? That's not an appropriate excuse. I don't even have any good vamping material. So what do you guys think of John Boehner, huh? Isn't he amazing? Oh man, that guy, he's great. Wow. Oh, John Boehner, wow. The stories I could tell about that man. So tonight, let's see, we got two main things we're going to go on with tonight. Tonight is the 5th anniversary of the Cincinnati Tea Party. How many of you guys were there at the first rally? A lot of you. Amazing. You notice I didn't raise my hand. I am a slacker. I was not there. I'm kind of mad about that. I missed the bus. Oh, man. So how many of you guys how many were you at the March one? A lot of you. How many of you were at the March and the April one? A lot. Hands went up and down. So there were two great rallies there in 2009, and we've got two of the amazing founders tonight of the Cincinnati Tea Party. Mike Wilson is here, and Chris Littleton are here. So thank you. We're going to take us on a little time warp through history of the Cincinnati Tea Party and rev us up to where the Tea Party is going to go in the future. And now I think I saw my delinquent MC sneak up behind me here. My friend who has helped me out on so many of these events, and I've heard that he may be leaving us. He's moving to the great beyond of Texas, which I guess you can't blame him, right? The amazing, our MC for the evening, Mr. Doc Thompson. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. I have a scenario to lay out for you. Imagine if this fall, the unthinkable happens, the unimaginable, and John Boehner gets fired. Is JD Winter right here, by the way? Okay. Imagine he gets fired, and Eric Cantor gets fired in Virginia, Mitch McConnell gets fired. Imagine that scenario. And it's not just Republicans in the House of Representatives, it's conservative Republicans in the House of Representatives. Leadership goes, and in the Senate, the same thing happens. I mean, we have this wind sweep all of the bad out and the good comes in. And then 2 years from now, we have the same thing happen in the White House. And we add more to the Senate and the House. Imagine that scenario. Imagine what we could get accomplished. What would happen then? What would happen to all of you then? Have you thought about actual success here? We would be more free. But what would happen is we would all say, job accomplished, mission accomplished, let's go home. See, I think a lot of people would, and that's what got us to all of the crap we're in. My point being is it gets really, really frustrating day in and day out to listen to all the junk, doesn't it? There's days you just have to turn it off. I get angry every day. If it weren't for yelling on the radio and laughing now and then, I would be done. I would be toast with this stuff. But I realized, I had a moment toward the beginning of the year where I realized this is just a way of life for us now. Now there's a lot of times on a Tuesday night, an event like this, you're like, you know what, I could just be watching TV, I'll go home and get something to eat, I really don't have time for it. But this has to be our way of life. And in order to make it a way of life, we have to enjoy it. We have to realize we are doing what's right. I mean, there's a lot of days you get up on Sunday and you're like, I can't go to church today, I got so much to do, right? You're supposed to make yourself go and do these things. That's what it means to be committed to the causes. That's got to be our life. It's got to be a ritual. We have to be involved in this stuff. And if you really want to make it easy on yourself, enjoy it. Find those ways. First of all, accept that this is just our way of life. This is who we are, this is what we're going to be, and be proud of it, and enjoy the people around you. That's the first part. The second part is finding, and by the way, I like the little hug there, that was real nice. Have to find other ways to be involved with this stuff. It can't just be the same rally, the same events. Now I know all across the country there are people working on getting people elected, getting policies changed. It's turned, a lot of Tea Party groups and patriot groups have turned into something else, and that is activists, and that's really good. It's not just about rallies and that. But you have to find other ways, other outlets. It's almost like, like church again. It's like hooking up with people at church, where you go out into fellowship. In other cases, you laugh together, you share your lives together. That's where I really think we have to go with this thing. Because even if the best happened, and we get rid of those SOBs in DC right now that are screwing things up, it's got to be a way of life forever. Have you thought of that in the past? Have you realized that? Enjoy it. This is okay. This is fun. Find those ways to laugh. And when you find those ways to laugh about it and make fun, then you're going to bring in new people to the store as well, especially younger people. The people that right now are like, okay, great, you're going to go to the Tea Party thing. Yeah. That's what Skip and I do on the air every morning, the Blaze Radio Network. We laugh about it, we joke. We're all called to do something different. And Skip and I lead with humor on the stuff. I mean, yeah, it's really serious. And yeah, there's a lot of days that it's frustrating, a lot of days that I get pretty emotional, pretty upset about the stuff. There's days, off the air that I just feel like crying, and some days I do. But I lead with humor because that's, first of all, my expression and my natural reaction. And second of all, I know it's doing good. That's part of what we do. We're called to bring in people in a different way than other people. Glenn's is to tell you the world is going to end. He's telling you the truth, but that's not necessarily stuff you want to hear each and every day. But apparently people do because he's incredibly successful. Quick story, Skip and I had the opportunity to fly with Glenn a couple of months ago. And this is hilarious. So Glenn can't fly commercial. Have you heard his stories about trying to fly? He just can't do it. It is like being around the president. There are congressmen, senators who do not have anywhere near the security that he has, and he has to because just a little bit of information I get, it's pretty serious at times. There's people that somehow don't like to hear truth and think for some reason he should be silenced. So it's pretty awful for him when he has to travel. So he finally made the commitment that he has to, when he flies, charter a plane. Skip and I had the opportunity because we were both in New York, and we were flying back to Dallas unexpectedly to do some stuff for the company. And they're like, well, actually Glenn's here and he's flying. Why don't you guys just catch a ride with him? We're like, okay, sure. We just stand out there. What do you? They're like, no, go to this airport. He'll be there. He knows everything's good. And we're like, okay, great. We get there and we're waiting about 10 minutes, and finally the security people, they're sweeping for Glenn, everything. And Glenn gets up. We get on the plane and we sit down, and he goes, guys, I want to talk to you about the future. Glenn proceeds to tell us how the world is going to end at 30,000 feet. For about 3 hours. Skip and I just drop us in St. Louis. We don't have to go all the way to Dallas. We'll walk. It's all right. Then he ends it in the last 10 minutes with going, but that's just one possible way. Could have told us that 2 hours ago, Glenn. Pulling a little emergency button and stuff. The truth is there's a whole lot of that, that, and that's part of Glenn's gift, is to show you the future and the possible futures and what's going on. We all have that little part that we have to play. I have never, for those of you that have listened to Glenn over the years, you've probably noticed, different ways and phases and things that he's been involved in. At the end of last year, especially the beginning of this year, I noticed this newfound energy. If you listen, it's just real subtle, it's real positive about stuff. And it was funny to hear him. I turned to Skip one day and I go, do you hear him now? I go, he's even more positive than he used to be. And I said, it's really what you and I have been feeling, and that is, there's a lot of good to come. There really is a whole lot of good. And I think it's because of events like this. It's because we've all been working so hard for so many years. We really have been engaged. But we don't take the time to look around and realize it because there's so much awful in the world, right? I mean, it's so bad. So a couple of years ago, I realized that people were becoming more and more involved. But I realized we were not celebrating our victories. We just get ticked off and we get back to work, right? But you have to celebrate those victories. Like just over a year ago, we stopped that gun bill from happening in the Senate. Remember the Senate? That was pretty much a done deal. Do you remember all the Republicans that sold out in the Senate? I put up a list of them. And it was even some people that hadn't sold out before, like a Tom Cochran and stuff. And I was like, wait a minute, I can't believe you're actually selling out on this. We stopped that from happening, but how many of you actually celebrated? It was like, oh, okay, thank God, it's not passing. All right, what are we gonna do now? It was like, done, right? Same thing with bombing Syria. It was like, we just kept ratcheting up, and all of a sudden, okay, it's done, we're not gonna do this, Russia's gonna take care of it. And they disappeared. And we went, okay, and look at all this other stuff we have to go do. But few of us actually stopped and said, hey, let's go drink a beer, let's celebrate. We got those people, we did good. We succeeded, cheer that. That's a good thing. If you don't do that, you're simply the Washington Generals. You know what Washington Generals are? The team that travels with the Harlem Globetrotters that just gets their ass kicked every time. That's who you become. You're out there fighting, putting in all the effort, and you're losing. You have to realize you are winning in the long term. You're going to keep winning. A little bit later on, Skip and I will take some questions too, if you have any questions about some of the things we have going on. But we do have a lot of people who want to speak tonight. One of the quick things I want to share with you is we have a two-party documentary coming up May 6th that we're releasing. You heard about it? It's called Intolerable. It's based on the Intolerable Acts of the Boston Tea Party. It's at intolerable.us. I think the trailer's still up there right now. May 6th, which is 3 weeks from tonight, we'll release it. It's going to be absolutely free. I hope you'll go and watch it online, share it with your friends and family. The more people we can get to see this, the more people will realize the truth, not the MSNBC version of the Tea Party. We'll share it and get it out there. Absolutely free, send it. We are capitalists and we have future projects coming up, so if you want to donate to it, you can donate on the site as well. And 10% of the proceeds go to Mercury One. But it's going to be a really good thing, and we hope you guys will check that out. All right, let's get on with the rest of our program tonight. We got Tia Shoemake coming up, homeschooling mom, political activist, contributor to Ohioans Against Common Core. Tia? And socialism, and I think we recognize a whole lot about it, but we didn't grow up in a communist situation or a socialist situation. Yeah. Our next speaker did. He grew up behind the Iron Curtain, was there for years, indoctrinated with the ideology of the Communist Party, a card-carrying member of the Communist Party, and after years, he finally realized his dream to immigrate to the United States. He wrote a book to tell his tales. Now, the good news is he's here tonight to share those with us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Harold Seeger. Harold Seeger comes to America and becomes a capitalist instantly. Gotta love him. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is a gentleman who's a talk show host, a columnist for the Washington Times, cast member of the upcoming Atlas 3 movie, Atlas Shrugged 3 movie, and a guy who I call friend, and who calls me, you're that, I met you, I just... Ladies and gentlemen, Rusty Humphries. Rusty Humphries, ladies and gentlemen. This morning on our program, we talked about the IRS. Have you heard of them? The IRS on this tax day. Last year, the IRS sent out a couple of extra dollars to people who didn't deserve it, shouldn't have gotten a refund. Did you hear that? It was $4 million. They said. Oh, I'm sorry. $4 billion. They sent out fraudulently. People who had filed tax returns fraudulently, stealing your Social Security number. And their solution is that you should better protect your Social Security number. Because people are stealing it, getting returns back. So you should do it. There's nothing they can do. You need to protect your Social Security number. I don't know if you know this, but your Social Security number is only supposed to be used for Social Security. It's illegal to be used for anything else. Meanwhile, Medicare, Medicaid, what do they use to identify you? Your Social Security number. All over the place they use this. So the federal government violates its own law and rule. And when the IRS isn't able to keep track of these returns, sent out $4 billion, they say it's your fault for not keeping track of your Social Security number. Now, they said they are going to do a couple of things to try to clean up some of the mess. And what they're going to do is they're going to track addresses finally. They have a better program, they could track addresses, because some of these $4 million went to the same household. There was one house in Florida that got $36 million worth of returns. Dozens and dozens of returns. Now, the thought occurred to me that maybe you could have in the past had a program that said, you know, if 400 people get a return to the same house, and it's not a 400-room house, then possibly you could investigate that. That if $36 million go to the same house, maybe just possibly it would red flag. And then I thought, what am I saying? They don't have time to do that. They're busy looking at you. They're busy investigating tea parties. They can't be looking into if somebody gets $36 million sent to one house. That's how asinine this is. That's how insane, how ludicrous. They're worried about whether or not you know Justin Binnick Thomas, as opposed to somebody that got $36 million sent to one house. Try filling out that you have a home office. Try putting that down on your returns. A deduction, yeah, I have a home office, I'm gonna take your deductions. They will send drones in and bomb your house. But you got $36 million? Sure, why not? That's how insane this is. Is there any question in your mind that, number one, Tea Party and Patriot groups were targeted, unlike liberal groups? Is there any question in your mind the motivation behind that? It was using the government against you. It was for political purposes. To tell us where we need to go in the future is a gentleman who's the co-founder of the Claremont County Tea Party, past president of the Ohio Liberty Coalition, and he has a new book that's going to explain some of this stuff to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Stevenow. Share with you, first of all, former president of Cincinnati Tea Party and Ohio Liberty Coalition, Chris Littleton.